Using Illustrator to use the laser cutter. So just please, it'll be a short tutorial showing you some of the basics, but please remember that there's lots of tutorials online on YouTube on how to use using Illustrator and doing different things within the application. So please, I encourage you to check that out, and you can definitely find out more than what I'm going to cover in this short tutorial. So anyway, you open up Illustrator. Once you first open it up, you're going to go to File, New. It's a vector graphic program, so for now, let's not worry about the size. But so let's just go. I'm going to go at the top over here under Web, and then I'm going to go to I'm going to go under Print and just create an A4 page over here. So just create an A4 page. Once you click on this on the side here, what I would do is change the color mode from CMYK to RGB. RGB is for web graphics, and in this case it'll work better with the laser cutter. The resolution doesn't really matter, so RGB color, everything else can remain the same. Say create, and here what's going to appear now is just an A4 page this is your canvas, as it were. If you've never worked with vector graphics before, the beauty of vector graphics is that if I draw something, let's just create a simple graphic over here. This is now a square. It looks sharp whether it's totally zoomed in. Let's see if we can find it, or zoomed out. It's always going to be sharp because vector graphics work on mathematical formulas with regards to resizing, so you don't have to worry about pixels or anything like that. Okay, the two things you need to know as far as laser cutting and Illustrator is that anything that's a line is going to be cut, and anything that's a fill graphic is going to be engraved. So what that means, let me just show you. I'm going to erase this square over here. So if I draw, let me just draw. Actually, even the square I had before was fine. So I'm going to go back to Square Tool, draw a square. So the outside here, this over here, if you look where the cursor is the line. And this white is the fill graphic. So as long as I have my square selected and I double click on the fill color, I can, for example, change it to red, and you'll see the fill color is now red and the outside is black. So if I want to cut a square out of, let's say, acrylic or wood, I want to have no fill color. So what I'll do is I'll click on the fill color and just get rid of it. So sorry, I haven't. So let me click on that graphic, and then make sure my fill color is selected and say no fill color. So now if I were to print this out, or rather cut it out, I would just the laser cutter would cut out a square. If I were to create a fill color, let's just say a fill color of black, since we're only working in black and white, and so I double click on that fill color and I make it black. I'm sorry, I forgot to select it again, so double click on it to make it black. What's happening here? Sorry, I'm just double click on it. Let me make it black. That's better. And then what it would do now is I still have a line color, so it would still cut it out, but now the inside would just be engraved. So what I would have is a cutout square with just fully engraved, which would be kind of pointless. So let's just say I wanted to make a keychain. What I would do is I'm gonna get rid of the fill color here. Then let's say I'm gonna I don't know, I'm going to maybe draw something here. This is a beautiful keychain with a smiley face. At the moment, this is still an outline. So basically what I want to do is I want to change all of these graphics here to fill colors. And now, actually, oh my God, there's like a million things that I'm not covering here. So these eyes would now be engraved. I might not have wanted, and nothing will be cut because it's just it's a fill color. Does that make sense? So this outside would be cut, and this inside would be engraved. Text is automatic. So let me do that again. You'll notice that the smiley face actually gave me a big mouth because when I use the pen tool by default. Let me make it an outline again. Sorry, do the line color. I'll get rid of the fill color, so I'm going to make it a line like this. If I wanted to have this be, rather than cut, but have it be engraved, what I really have to do is I have to click on that line. I'm going to change this line to an outline. And the way I do that is I go Object, Path, and say Outline Stroke. And now you'll see what happens is that stroke that I had before is now a fill color. So now this would be engraved and not cut. So again, the thing to watch for is that anything that's fill color is going to be engraved, anything that's outlined is going to be cut. Okay, let me get rid of this this smiley face stuff for now. The same applies to text. Let's just say I wanted to write my name on here. I'm going to go to the text tool. I'm going to write, that's my first name, Mache, so I'm going to make it quite big over here. By default, you'll notice it is a fill color, so it's going to be engraved. So that's fine. One thing I wanted to show you just quickly, if you're new to Illustrator, is any text can become a vector graphic. So here I just typed in text. If I go to type and I say create outlines over here, you'll see that what happened, my type is now, I've created outlines. So what I can do is I can now manipulate the vector points over here, so I can actually, you know, have a font that already exists, but I can now create my own font based on this thing. One thing I should have gone over before, I'll quickly go over it now if you haven't realized it already, is that there's basically two, let's just say let me create a big square over here. That two very basic things to know in Illustrator, that there's two selection tools. This first selection tool, the solid one, lets me move my graphic wherever I want to move it. And I can, it's for moving my whole text. And this selection tool over here, direct selection tool, what that lets me do is if I click outside and then I click on one of the vector points, I can now manipulate the exact vector point. So that's important as you work with Illustrator, is knowing that the main selection tool is for selecting your whole graphic, and the direct selection tool, rather this piece, is for manipulating vector points of your graphics, so manipulating parts of your Illustrator thing. Okay, so we're back to the keychain. So this is sort of basics in Illustrator. One quick thing I can show you as well, which is kind of neat, is that any path, you know, let's just say I create a path like this. I can go to text and say type on path tool, and any path can become a text path. So now I can actually type on this path, which is kind of nice because you know, I don't have to work in straight lines. I can curve text. I can do all sorts of stuff with text. So that's worth noting. But one thing to remember, so this is basic keychain. We want to make sure that it's going to fit within our dimensions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to show the rulers. So I'm going to go to type. Sorry, where am I going here? To view, and I should say view show rulers. Yeah, show rulers. So now I can actually have rulers on the sides over here. These are my rulers. So if I now go the dimensions I wanted for the keychain was 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So if I go to my units, let me just check, make sure what it's on right now. So if I go to units, it's probably in points. Yeah, so actually I want to change this to centimeters because that's quite important. So now my rulers, when I say OK, should all change to centimeters. So 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. Let's just say I'm going to get rid of this. Let's just say this is my keychain or bag tag. It's pretty ugly. Hopefully you guys will design something better than this. But I want it to fit within that 10 centimeter window. What I can do is I can actually click on the ruler and drag out, and this way I can create boundaries. So 10 would be over here, 10 centimeters. If I drag down from this ruler down here, 10 would be down here. So now I know that this is the work area that I have to work in for my bag tag. So I'm going to now use the direct selection tool, select my bag tag, and sorry, let me do that again. Select my bag tag and drag it into that area. I'm going to have to resize it. Remember to hold down Shift as you resize so that everything resizes with the right dimensionality. So resize with this, because if I don't click Shift, I'll do stuff like this, and please don't ever do that. You give me a migraine. So rather than that, just hit Shift, and then it'll resize accordingly. So I'm going to resize it so that it fits within this window. And within this window, now I know that this bag tag or keychain is going to fit my specifications. And then I'm going to I'm going to go click on the rectangle tool, but go to circle instead, ellipse, and I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to create a little circle at the top here. I'm thinking about, I can see this is going to be roughly 1 centimeter, so that's going to be more than, it doesn't have to be quite as big. I can make it slightly smaller for it to fit a keychain. That should be fine. I want to give myself enough space on the edges here so that it's not going to break. And you'll notice that it's engraved. It doesn't have to be engraved. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the fill color and give it an outline color. So now what's going to happen is the laser cutter is going to engrave this text, because again it's a fill color, and this outline color over here is going to cut. So I should have a pretty ugly keychain here that I can, or bag tag that I can use, but this is the basics of using Illustrator with the laser cutter. Two other quick things I can show you is, a lot of you are going to want to create graphics that you can bring in. So Illustrator, if you just say File, Place, I can bring in graphics. So I'm going to try to find something on my desktop. I think I just downloaded, let me see if I can find some graphic. Okay, this is some logo, so I'm going to place the logo here. So I can bring any graphic in here. It's not going to engrave this because it's not a vector graphic. So what I have to do is I have to make it a vector graphic. And the way I do that is I click on my graphic, I go Object, Image Trace, make and expand. What that does, it now changes my graphic changes my pixel graphic into a vector graphic. One thing you'll note though, it also changes the background color, so that you'll notice there's a white. So I have my fill color here, but I also have a big white box. So what I want to do is get rid of the white box. I can get rid of this text over here. So I now have my graphic over here. I'm going to drag it, bring it over, and now this is a graphic that I can actually, it's going to engrave that as well, because I'll click and I'll see that it's got a fill color as well. So this is all stuff, that I can actually want to get rid of this, because, so that's kind of this. If I want shapes, let's just say I didn't want a square, I can obviously use the pen tool and draw whatever shape I might want to draw. I'm sorry, this was actually the wrong. This is. Let me just do the regular pencil tool, and I'm going to draw the shape that I want to do. And here we are, so that you can do abstract shapes like that. That would cut it around that shape. Or I can take a graphic like this one, and I can create an outline stroke. So I'll just give you an example. So I'm going to click on that graphic. I'm going to give it an outline stroke, and then I'm going to go back here and actually delete the whole graphic itself. So what I now have is an outline stroke. So now the laser cutter would cut all this. Obviously, I don't want it to cut this middle bit. Otherwise, that wouldn't work. But what I can do is I can use my direct selection tool, so the one that's not solid, and just delete what's here. Now I have a keychain that's like this, and then I can still create whatever graphic I want within that keychain. And obviously I need to have a place for the keychain, etc. But I can use graphics brought from other locations as my outline for my keychain. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. I'm sure you'll have a million questions, but again, that's my job. Ask me questions, and also please, I do recommend you check out other tutorials online.